LA Times The Envelope Roundtable is presented by Marvel Studios' Loki Season 2 for your awards consideration in all categories, including Outstanding Drama Series.
What I've been hearing a lot from teachers is that Barbara Howard is the teacher they'll never forget. Barbara Howard is the teacher that really, really pushes her students against the odds. And that just blows me away, because I had a few of those teachers who always said, don't you worry, you've got what it takes. I see it in you, and I'm talking to you right now, but you're going to make it.
For the Los Angeles Times, I'm Lorraine Ollie. This is the Envelope Comedy Roundtable. Everybody. So let's just dive right in. You are all here for your fantastic performances in your respective shows, but I wanted to go back to a time when you were auditioning for those shows. JB, I wanted to start with you.
Oh, wow.
Leon Black for Curb Your Enthusiasm. Yes. You auditioned in front of Larry David?
Yeah, I didn't even know that the process was to improv in front of Larry, with Larry. You know, I was in town for one day for a friend's memorial service, and literally had just changed agencies and got an opportunity to go in there and audition. You know, but I do have this thing I do. I love to go in the room as the character.
Indeed.
Yeah, I like to drive the car. You know, and meaning I like to control the room. You know, coming from the stand-up world, that's kind of what we do. We step on stage, we control the room. We have the loudest mic, we have the microphone. We're the loudest person. So I took that and I said, you know, I'm gonna start going in the room as the character. You see how I walk in the room, you see my mannerisms right away. If I can make you laugh without saying a word, I got you.
You know another good idea? Me getting up and getting another plate.
Oh, don't. Leon, come on, man.
And once I undo these pants
Oh, jeez.
and this top buckle,
You're gonna get sick.
watch my smoke.
Huh? What's wrong with you?
I'm going in, Larry.
Oh, Jesus.
Woo! Oh, yeah. Those snow crab legs.
You know, the funny thing is, sometimes on my way home, you know, my wife would call me and say how my day was, and she'll say, what did Leon say today? And I'm sitting there driving, and I'm literally telling her what he did today. but I'm him, but I'm not him, you know? What did Leon say? And I just tell her some funny things that he said today.
I like that.
So I'm just wondering, when you get recognized out in public, do you get often mistaken for somebody else? And if so, like, who is it?
Well, mine was annoying because when McConaughey and I appeared at the kind of same time in my career, my mom even called me. She's like, you're on the cover of a magazine? I swear that's true. But I actually once got in a full-on confrontation with a guy on the street because I would not sign his autograph as Matthew McConaughey. And he was screaming, you're a McConaughey. And I was like, I'm not McConaughey. So, yeah, it's gotten... It was a bit weird for years when your own mother is like,
Wow.
I always get Barbara Howard. Now, it's always Barbara Howard. Always Barbara Howard. But there was a point after Dreamgirls, and for whatever reason, it was one of those days, I got on the plane, there I am sitting right up there in first, and this person, as I'm getting on, they're like, hi, Whitney. I'm not Whitney Houston. Next person, time goes by. Oh, Miss Houston. The fripp. I am not Whitney Houston. Plane ride goes by. We get off, we're getting ready to get off. They come with a bottle of wine and they say, I just want to say how much I adore you, Miss. I said, I am not Whitney Houston. And the person backed up and they said, I'm sorry. Aren't you Miss Sheryl Lee Ralph? I was so embarrassed. And to this day, I carry with me, you be nice to everybody, because somebody doesn't know who the hell you are.
They don't know.
They don't know, and they're only mistaking you for somebody they love. So, you know, I've been called everybody from Patti LaBelle to Gabrielle Union, which I love since I'm, 20 years older than she is? I'm like, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
I'll
there
take
it
that.
is, fine. So I've signed many people's autographs as the people they think
just
I
go
am.
for it anyway.
I just go for it. Just go for it. Make them happy. They just want to be happy, you know, and I love it. I'm like,
I, of course, get Gigi Hadid a lot.
I get Bella.
Like, you get that.
So
It's hard for me. Yeah, that's hard for me and my family.
You guys aren't the Hadids?
Oh, yeah, no.
No, we're not.
Oh.
Sorry.
I get one. I was at a man. This is crazy. I don't know if you guys have ever been through this, but I was at a urinal.
I've been there.
There's certain things you just don't
I've
do.
never been there.
Don't ask anything. Don't talk to me. God shouldn't even talk at the urinal. It should not be a word said. If you're right next to my urinal,
breach of the code.
and we're both doing the same thing, and one guy said, "Hey man," he said, "I love you, Sally." John Sally, the basketball. I love you, Sally. I said, "Really? You think I'm John Sally? You really think I'm John Sally?" Number one, don't talk to me while we're at the urinal. So I get John Sally, or I got Senator Warnock, right? But this is weird. But this is weird. So John, you know, me and John are good friends. So John will tell me, I was in Vegas, man, sitting down having dinner, and somebody taps me on my shoulder. I love you, Leon. And John tells me that. And then people are telling me I look like John Sally, or I look like Senator Warnock. But John Sally doesn't look anything like Senator Warnock.
At all.
So it's like weird, like I'm a balance of several people. You know what I mean? It's like weird, like wait a minute. Wait, do I look like John Sally or do I look like Senator Warnock? And why does John Sally not look like Senator Warnock if I look like John Sally? It's so weird. It's like a weird, like a balance.
But it works.
But it works.
It works.
It works.
He had a great scene at a urinal. His ex-wife found him there. That was very funny. And then your bad partner walked in on you. And there was a whole lot of shaking going on. I was like, oh my God, how do you do a scene like that?
As the line, you think it's easy being a man?
I was so mad at you. Yes. I was so angry at him. He says, I've been married for 20 years. I wanted to say, you low down mother hugger. See, I knew that dog bites. Although, wait a minute. I have never loved the church's fried chicken mascot more than when you had the scene in the chicken costume.
Well, I feel like that's become like I was going to jump in with. There's a footballer in the UK who has the same name as me. So every time I'd like turn up on set, everyone would be like, "Oh, we thought you were going to be Daniel Ings, the footballer." Oh. And now, recently, since this show came out, now people will like squawk chicken noises at me in the street.
What are you doing? That's not how a chicken walks. Come on, peck, lay a pecking. Get up on that sofa and fly off.
I've gone from not the footballer to chicken guy. In the space of like 3 months. Yeah, that chicken thing's gonna follow me.
That's gonna follow you in a wonderful way forever.
Yeah.
I think when we meet Ava in season 3, she's done a lot of growing. I think the person that we meet in season 1 is, you know, a little spoiled, a little kind of entitled. And I think working with Deborah helps her to just kind of put her head down and like really earn everything that she grows to, you know, have. So when we meet her in season 3, she's kind of got a solid foundation going. She's got a great job. She's working on a great TV show. She's living with her girlfriend, and I don't think any of that would have been possible without the experiences that she's, had working with Deborah over the first 2 seasons. So, with her, it's always 2 steps forward, 5 steps back. So, obviously chaos will ensue. But yeah, I'm really proud of how far she's come.
Hannah, so auditioning for Hacks, playing Ava, I think I've heard you quoted saying it was the one time when your low self-esteem actually helped you in an audition. Can you unpack that a little bit?
That is right, yes. I went in with total confidence that I would not book that. So I was like, yeah, I'll just have fun. And I was so confident in that truth that I think it actually kind of carried me. And I just kind of was like, I just was so jazzed on the material, frankly. It was right before COVID that I auditioned, and then my callback was during lockdown over Zoom. And I'm a stand-up comedian as well, and I couldn't go on stage, and so all I could do was engage with this one piece of comedy. It was the only way that I could engage with comedy, was reading this pilot and writing jokes and trying to punch up little things for the scenes and trying to get in that mindset for the audition. And so yeah, that was just I was grateful to be able to even do that. I really was grateful to just sit with that work and be like, I have access to this brilliant piece of comedy that I'm otherwise feeling starved for.
Happy with a demotion? Lewis offered me the head writer job and I turned it down. You specifically told me to be ambitious, except when it inconveniences you, I guess. God, you are so selfish.
Yes, I am. You have to be selfish.
Well, I don't want to be.
Heidi, for SNL, was there a particular character that you went in with to try out for it, or how did that work?
I really wanted the job, and so I wanted to be as undeniable. So you get 5 minutes, and they say, make it 5, do not go over. And so I did 12 characters in 5 minutes and just tried to, wham bam them. And then I didn't hear anything for 2 weeks, and then I heard that they wanted me to, I flew home, and then I heard they wanted me to come back out. And they said, but this time it has to be a whole new set. And I was like, those were the 12. Those were the ones that I had. But it was really special because I came up through the Groundlings and was doing just so many, I was a hairdresser, I had stopped doing hair, and I was just performing at the Groundlings in so many shows and failing a lot of failed characters, a lot of failed sketches. But for that second audition, I was like, well, wait, that sketch didn't work at the Groundlings, but I think people liked this one little part of a character. I could do that for 15 seconds. So I always say my second audition, I think I did another 12 characters. That was all, I'm a sports fan, and that was my bench. That was my bench players, and I feel like they got me the job. And, yeah.
Wow. I like that. Love that.
Yeah. That sounds terrifying.
What do you do?
Well, I'll tell you what I don't do. Eat. Haven't eaten in a month.
Oh my God. Crystal, you need to take care of yourself.
Hello, Caesar. My favorite. You know what? It's kind of nice eating at a table, not on the toilet.
Hairdressers, they have to connect with their client.
That was
and
my
all
greatest character source. Was
all different,
oh gosh,
all kinds of people.
Yeah, because people just open up to you immediately. It's not a cliche. It's
Wow.
real. And when I started opening up to them that I was pursuing this other thing, comedy, they were like, "Are you funny?" We will see. But I'm such a people pleaser and almost too honest. I had a couple clients where I was like, I kind of want to do you as a character, and they were like, "Oh my God, this is what I say. This is what this is what I would say to this, and you should." And they just let me use them. I had a lot of women at the salon. The same way when you said, sometimes you need that push. My boss at the salon, she didn't fire me, but she did say to me, you're not needed here anymore. You are meant for something else. Yes. And you don't have to feel like you need to stay here and pay rent. We're all good.
She fired you, dude.
All right.
Did some of the characters have like? Would you match the wig to the real woman?
100%.
Oh,
I did. I wanted to pay them.
Yes.
Like, these were queens to me. You know, I was like, I wanted.
Wow.
If you ever came to a show, I wanted you to feel like
That's me right there.
represented.
That's
Yeah.
me.
The words that I would use to describe Freddie would 100% be volatile, destructive, confused, complicated. I would say the thing I always kept in mind is that he has a kind of sense of arrested development. So there's like a little boy stuck in there who's been screaming to be noticed his whole life.
Daniel, Freddie in The Gentleman is utterly
a hot mess. And
Thank
we
you.
love it.
Thank you. How much
Fry
of yourself
that
is in that
chicken.
joke?
Yes.
Well, the raging coke addiction and the gambling problem is the part that is. But yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's the bit that comes easy, right? Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I in my head I always sort of play myself, and then I like watch it back. I'm like, oh, they managed to make it look like I was playing someone else here. That's good. Yeah, thankfully I'm not too much like him, I don't think. But that was a fun one because it was like I could kind of see what they were doing with it, but it was such a dislikable character on the page. I thought like, yeah, everyone's got to want to spend time with them. Do you know what I mean? Even if they're an asshole, like the audience has to want to hang out with them on screen.
Yeah.
They don't want to spend time with them in real life. So that was one too, where like going in for the audition, you know, you think I have to change this stuff. Even if what they have is better, I have to change it just to sort of like demonstrate that like I'm gonna wing it when we get down there. I don't want that to be a surprise on the day that I'm suddenly like changing.
Yeah.
Making myself sound like a real
It's primogenital is what it is.
Primogeniture, Freddie.
That's what I said. You know that's what I said. You've heard of that, haven't you?
Of course. But the will is clear.
So Josh, I love Douglas and Palm Royale. Where did you go to find him?
Well, he was, I mean, first of all, unlike a lot of probably the characters in these shows where he was, there's this weird thing where they said to me, you know, we don't think you would want to do it because there's nothing there, because that in the beginning it was just going to be a very small part, right? And so I was so excited about the idea of being a part of something with this group of people, and the fact that it was comedy, and the fact that I hadn't been able to do that much for a very long period of time. So I was like, of course, absolutely I would do this. And so I think in our show particularly, it's not improv by any means, but it's definitely evolving consistently, strongly based on what the team, particularly the main showrunner, Abe, sees and says, oh, that's where we can go. And so I just had this kind of weird love affair with Douglas as being this like puppy dog, you know, product of this world that he'd run away from and fallen crazy in love with this woman. But so I saw all the great in him.
Are you still married to her?
No!
Are you a polygamist? Am I a sister wife?
Maxine.
Well, I don't know. Are you even a pilot? Are you a brush salesman with families in different cities?
Just give me a second here, all right? This is the first time I'm hearing any of this right now as we talk.
That's how conversations work, Douglas.
It's not that I lied about Penelope, I didn't bring her up. I really love him, and you know, you're kind of always being drawn back into his flaws and his madness, but that was what was so fun. It was just like, wait a second, I fight for him being not just lovable is not the right thing, but for the heart of the character, because I think that's so often true with so many of these characters where, you know, there's some, and particularly the battle is why we like someone, right? And even if they're a terrible person, it's the idea that I think terrible people oftentimes have lovable elements. Sometimes at least, you know?
Hi. Here we go.
Loki.
Loki.
Loki. The amazing Loki, everyone!
Gotta keep going.
What did you say your name was?
Loki Season 2, now streaming only on Disney+.
The strangest sketch I've pitched that almost made it. It was a sketch when Adam Sandler was hosting, and he was my husband and had just gotten back from the hospital from calf implant surgery. And I was throwing him like a surprise welcome home from calf implant surgery. and his implants exploded, and they almost put that on the show. But they didn't, and that was probably for good reason.
With Abbott Elementary, when you first walked in to, audition for Barbara, who, number one, she's a teacher we all wish we had.
Yes.
Like, who were you channeling? How did that, did you have a picture of who she would be, or?
I was very fortunate that I didn't have to. I was asked to take a meeting. And I said, sure, I'd love to. Quinta said, Miss Ralph, I know that you are at that point in your career where you don't audition, but I would like you to just meet the team. And I was like, sure, I'll meet the team. When I read that script, it was every great teacher I ever had that just came up to greet me and said, tell my story. Tell the good parts and do not forget the bad parts, because one or two of the bad parts you are involved in. So I need you to keep your understanding up there. And I could just, I could see them all. I could see Mrs. Hunt. I could see Miss Burfine. I could see my Auntie Carolyn. I could see my dad. I could see all of them there.
Wait, which quirks of yours are in the script? Now I need to know.
For whatever reason, I see people differently than their names. I knew for sure Orlando Bloom was a black man. Orlando Bloom, I knew he was a young black football player. I knew it. When I saw him, I was just like, that's not Orlando Bloom. Darren Star. I knew Darren Star was a young black influencer. Yeah. Darren Star. I was proud of Darren Star for years and Sex in the City. Proud of him. And I was at one of those balls, Elton John or Elizabeth Taylor, and they said, you must go and meet Darren Star. I said, where is he? They said, he's right there. Where?
Yeah.
Right there. I said, that's an older white man. And they said, that's Darren Star. And I was like, oh my God, what is wrong with me? The whole cold opening of I think it might have been the third episode, was me, Barbara Howard, mixing up everybody. Everybody's wrong. All the characters were just wrong, and she just was so right with it. Yeah. So that's my quirk.
Well, if they do go with a black actor, I hope they go with that Mr. Brian Austin Green. I am so proud of that young man and all of his success.
So there are a bunch of white celebrities who Barbara thinks are black. Like Brian Austin Green would be Brian Tyree Henry.
Oh, I see you, little Carrie Underwood. Good morning.
Kerry Washington.
I'm going straight home. Put on a little Millie Bobby Brown.
Bobby Brown.
No one's done more for black actors than Tommy Lee Jones.
James Earl Jones.
Oh my God.
So fantastic.
Now I have to stop and put the face to the name. But Orlando Bloom, football player. Yes. Black man. Yes.
Were there particular players or cast members on SNL or characters throughout the history of SNL that, like, you really, I don't know, that were your favorites or that were inspirational or ones that you kind of turned back to?
Yeah, well, I remember when my mom and dad the first sketch I ever saw was Eddie Murphy as James Brown, And now, just as a family, my parents got divorced when I was young, and that is one of the, last moments I remember of all of us just laughing together, is watching that sketch over and over. And then the first time I remember making them laugh was Dana Carvey would do a Weekend Update as Robin Leach, and he'd be like, my name is Robin Leach, and I don't know why. And I would do that, and they would laugh, and I was like, ooh, this is cool. Wow. So that was that was early on, you know, I saw it. And Jan Hooks and Nora Dunn, they always were like played good peas in a pod together.
Oh, I really need a mic. I'm security. I gotta be able to see me.
A bet's a bet. A bet's a bet.
You're right. He's right.
All right. I never throw quarters at the wall with Jordan. I wouldn't do it.
Where to go?
I lost everything once. Okay, one more time. Let's go. Let's go. Come on.
Man, I got nothing left.
Night with your wife.
No. All right, let's go.
Okay,
Come on.
here we go. All
Come
right,
on. Hey, don't be like that because it's just one night. And you said, hello? Oh, well, okay. Well, she hung up, so it's official. I'm in the doghouse.
Funny that thing of like you say, my parents divorced when I was young too, and like comedy I felt like was a, you know, when that stuff happens, there's like a lot going on. I've got the two older siblings as well, and like comedy was a way of sort of like, it was currency within the family. You could sort of access a reaction from someone. You know what I mean? It became maybe to get attention or to like deflect a tricky situation. But it is interesting, that thing, how that comedy has a sort of way of connecting you with like a parent or a family member or a friend or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of how you bond, isn't it? Particularly in weird situations. And actually, a load of these shows are, you know, what we were saying about Hacks, but is that switch between like the darkness and the comedy. But it is funny, so many people I know are the same, that it is like something that's sort of in your bones from a young age, because you just figure out like, I can get this reaction from people that they don't want to give, or they weren't like prepared to give. Do you know what I mean?
I challenge
made you laugh.
Yeah.
No, sorry.
No, every so often, like these days, in like connections with friends or family or partners, like I'll realize how much I used to just lean on like, well, I know right now the funny thing I could say to diffuse the tension now.
Yes.
And what if, as an adult, I just didn't do that?
Didn't do it,
And see what happens.
Wait, that's an option? I didn't. How do we do that? Okay, teach me.
He's not a moronic puppy dog, but he's definitely not the brightest. Like a golden retriever who's like bouncing off the walls. You know, Douglas he's ambitious, he's silly, he's not the brightest, he's blue blood, you know, through and through, and yet there's so many things I like about this character because he's so multifaceted. That's the main thing I would say. He absolutely, I think, loves his wife Maxine, you know, played by the great Kristen Wiig. But he's easily someone who can be taken advantage of. And I think he's got a big heart, actually, at his core. I really love playing him, truly.
You know, there's a darkness to a lot of these characters. Can you talk about finding that balance in comedy? Josh, let's go to you.
I mean, I always have been mystified why comedy, and I hope nobody would be upset that I would say this, is like a stepchild, right? And yet, in my opinion, it's by far the hardest. It's by far the most rewarding. It's by far the most difficult.
Yeah, we all agree.
It's like,
You hear that?
Comedy matters.
It's hard.
But that turn is real, you know. Comedy is drama, they say.
Yeah.
Drama's comedy, the way it goes. But that is true.
Yeah.
There is a turn there that we are familiar with.
Yeah.
Whether we act it out or not, we are familiar with that. You know, we have to notice what people love about us in the moment. When you're on stage, we can find that one person who's not laughing. It could be 1,000 people out there. We can find that one dude who's sitting there like this.
Mine's always in the front row. And his girlfriend is.
Right. We know who. We can find that guy. It's crazy how we can find that guy.
That's the people pleaser thing, isn't it? Too? It's like I'm like I'll break you. I'll get you.
Yeah.
Make them laugh. Make them laugh.
Yeah.
Is there a people pleaser aspect to what you do?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Comedy particularly, it's like, I mean, particularly being on stage, right? When you learn, you get that laugh, and you don't get it, it's like, well, I mean, it's competitive with yourself, with all that. I think it's so different in that way.
There's a purity to it too, isn't it? It was like they laugh or they don't laugh.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And like real, just like honest to God comedy. It's like
Yes.
it worked or it didn't work,
That's
and
right.
you can massage it and try and figure things out. And like I remember doing a play once that was a comedy, but it was scripted. They had like scripted improv bits in it, so it was sort of meant to be as if things had gone wrong.
Right.
And so I was like, it was open season. You know, like, you know, when you're doing a play night after night as well, you find those little things. You notice that you put the cup down a certain way and you get a laugh.
Yes.
I remember the director came in after like 6 months and he just hated everything I was doing. And he said to me, like, you're begging for laughs. And I was, but I was like, I just said, you know what, I have to say, I may be begging for them, but I feel like I'm getting them. The proof is in the pudding.
In some sense, I feel like Leon gives Larry good, bad advice. And that is the thing. It's Leon's version of what he feels will help Larry. You gotta remember, they're from two different worlds, two different personalities, two different backgrounds. Hell, no one even knows Leon's origin. We don't know where the hell he came from. He just showed up at Larry's door one day to see his sister. But that guy has a unique take on the world because he's basing the world on what he's experienced.
I did want to ask one really specific thing. I think I've heard you do a Larry impression. Can you do one?
Pretty. I do a little bit. I think, you know, because there are two Larrys, there's TV Larry and real Larry.
TV Larry.
Two different dudes. Not two different people. Different things that bugs them. So it's two Larrys. And the TV Larry, because we're saying something for the first time, TV Larry is very interested in your take on. So he'll just, but you know the buttons. TV Larry starts to break. First, this side of his mouth goes up a little bit.
I love that.
Like you start to giggle a little bit underneath, you know. And now it feels like we went from Larry ruining takes, right? I mean, ruining takes. Thank God we kept cross-shooting because Larry would ruin a take.
Breaking?
Oh, he would ruin a take in a heartbeat.
Because I want to ask you all about breaking too, but I know we're running out of time. But I'm so intrigued with where do you go in your head not to break?
But yeah, Larry would break and ruin the scene. But then we started incorporating his honest take on what you just said.
Yeah,
which works way better. I think it works better.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's so good to see him.
So many scenes in that where there's just like everybody's just
everybody's just laughing at each other while they're doing it because it really is. You're hearing something for the first time, and that's what makes it genuine. And if you're laughing at home, you should be laughing. If you're laughing on the set, you should be laughing at home too.
Okay.
It's relatable.
We laugh on the set, but you can't laugh too much because it's like you're up against the gun. So you have to find out, okay, where do you go not to laugh? And it's like funeral.
Yeah.
Go to funeral.
Absolutely.
Go right to a funeral. And then you don't laugh and you will stay, you know, or if people intimidate you in an audition, I put them on the toilet. And sit on the toilet. And then we're all the same.
Yeah.
You know, if you have to find these triggers. Or, you know, they tell you, sometimes they'll tell you, don't do this or don't do that. Look right over their head. Yes. And they're not really there.
For me, it's Jane Addams. When I am across from Jane Addams, there's just no hope. She is a raw nerve. She is, and like we assume that once the scene is done, she's going, she's improvising. We're in for 5 full minutes, and I'm just like she is the most tapped in because that character, Ava's mother, is so manic, and she is reporting live on the scene of mania. She is tapped in to that emotion, and she's so funny and smart and quick. And no one does that to me but Jane. Jane me up. Like there are sometimes it's her coverage, and you could just see my shoulder Like, I'm just trying not to. It is so crazy. We get it done. I'm very professional, but she is the funniest person.
Well, I have a question about the whole SNL with Gosling, right? Because he's now done it multiple times, and he's breaking the entire time.
Yeah.
I didn't realize. Oh, is it like a technique that he's doing? Like, because it seems to be like, because it is so wonderful to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like, because I haven't seen, like, I know that obviously famously Will Ferrell attempted to constantly be breaking Jimmy Fallon, right? I mean, wasn't that his goal? Like, that was his goal, right? I think, and he famously says every time he went in a scene with Jimmy, his goal was to break Jimmy, right?
Yeah.
And that's a great drive, but I imagine it's also like, I've heard you all talk about how not just terrifying that is, how like maybe seemingly unprofessional or whatever, but it's so much fun to watch.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
That Beavis and Butthead sketch. Where
it's-
it's like by the end.
Video of you in dress too, where I was just like so charmed by it because you're true joy. It's like that's what you want. You want the people who are doing this work to be so in love with it and so dying laughing at it. Like, we enjoy so much seeing that. I don't know. Yeah, how does that feel on your experience?
It's so special to hear that people enjoy it because I had an experience back when I was at the Groundlings where I broke in a sketch just like too many times, me and Chris Eckert. And our director sat us down. It was like from lights up we broke. And we just did it too many times. And our director said, I know you guys are having fun, but like the audience doesn't even know what's going on yet, you know? And it was like, yeah, you know what, you're right, that's not cool. And so I just became like a non-breaking professional. And I've taken a lot of pride in it at SNL and just like, I'm not breaking, you know? And just wouldn't allow myself that. And then in Beavis and Butthead, I looked back and I couldn't not
you
laugh.
talked about almost like suffering with that, right?
Yeah.
Meaning like as opposed to for us, it was like, I couldn't have been more amazing.
It's the thing of Beavis.
Maybe it's because you have earned being one of them who's like constantly on point.
And because it's genuine too. It's so obviously uncontrollable laughter.
But I was scared afterwards. I just, you know, you're in the adrenaline of the show and you keep going. But then I was like, well, wait, that was unprofessional. You know, I went back to my friends and I was like, was that okay? Because I know it was a long break, you know? Like, and I'm thinking about what I saw and like, it made me laugh really hard.
But if human beings created the AI, can't we just program it to not do that?
Well, it depends. Oh my God. Are you serious?
What? I think that's a valid question.
No. Now there's a gentleman behind you that looks like Butthead.
Professor, just because our audience members aren't as informed on the issue as you doesn't make them buttheads.
Butthead from the cartoon. He's Beavis' friend.
I'd really like to move on and discuss AI, so would you like him to move?
Yes, thank you. The man with the gray shirt and exposed gums.
Sir.
Kindly move seats. People have been so kind and embraced and wanted to laugh too. So it was like, okay.
And I love when we get our audiences there, that all they can do is laugh and be happy that we're the ones that gave it to them. Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much. This has been fantastic.
So fun.
Thank you.
Hey, cheers, everybody.
I do believe that Leon Black could survive on the show The Last of Us, of course. This guy's, he's a natural born survivor of all things possible, because he's always prepared. Yeah, trail mix in his pocket, that kind of stuff.
There's so many shows that I would love to be a part of, and they're actually shows that I watch or have watched. Love Palm Royal. Love The Gentleman. Love Ghosts. Love the Big Door Prize. Oh my God, I Can See Me. big ways or small ways in all of these shows. Oh, yes, I can. But I will not be dressing up as a chicken.
LA Times The Envelope Roundtable was brought to you by Marvel Studios' Loki Season 2 for your awards consideration in all categories, including Outstanding Drama Series.